Oblation Run!
Fighting Maroots,
Isaw!
Sunken Garden,
Lantern Parade!
Utak,
Puso!
UP.
Pasok ka rito!
Tara sa kwentuhang may utak.
Kwentuhang may puso.
UP Atin to.
Isang mahalimuyak na araw sa inyong lahat, mga kasali. Kwentuhang may utak o kwentuhang may puso. Ako si Jay Pineda at ito ang UP Atin to. Tayo napapahinggan ngayon sa DZUP 1602 kHz sa inyong mga radyo, sa audio streaming sa dzup.org at napapanood sa opisyal na Facebook page at YouTube channel ng DZUP. Pamumukadkad or the process of becoming. Tulad ng isang mirasol na unti-unting bumubukas sa tamang panahon. Ang bawat tao rin ay may sariling panahon ng paglago at pag-usbong. Sa episode na ito, binibigyang pansin natin ang sining at ang mga kwento mula sa transgender community ng ating student body. Kaya't samahan ninyo kaming tuklasin kung paano nga ba nagiging tahanan ang sining para sa malayang pagpapahayag ng sarili. Bahagi ng pamumukadkad ang pag-unawa at kalayaang maipakita ang tunay na ikaw. Kaya naman sa ating Share Me Yarn segment, tinanong natin ang ating mga transgender na kasapino, what's one misconception o maling akala tungkol sa transgender individuals ang gusto mong tuluyang mabura? Kaya naman, tara na, Share Me Yarn!
Share mo yarn.
Mika from BA Film. Siguro isa sa mga misconceptions na gusto ko talagang tuluyang mabura sa tungkol or patungkol sa mga transgender individuals ay kailangan mag-medical transition ang isang tao upang ganap na matawag na isang transgender individuals. Ayan ay isang misconception na patuloy na namamayagpag sa ating lipunan ngayon na kapag ang isang tao ay kinakailangan mag-medical transition para maturing na trans dahil hindi naman sa lahat ng pagkakataon ay kailangan ito or not necessarily kailangan talagang mag-medical transition dahil marami namang uri ng pagta-transition. Meron tayo ngayon, pag-ako dun sa sarili or pag-identify sa atin na trans tayo, dun pa lang ma-identify at dapat na tayong maituring na isang transgender individual. Hindi necessary na kailangan ay dumaan tayo sa proseso ng pag-medical transition dahil yun yung isang stereotype or isang misconception na talagang ikinukulong yung mga transgender individuals. Paano naman kasi kung ang isang trans individual ay hindi kaya, hindi afford na mag-medical transition or hindi kaya may mga health crisis or may mga health concerns sa kanilang mga sarili na nagpapastop sa kanila na mag-medical transition. Sa gayong paraan ba, may stop na or hindi na sila maaaring payagan na ma-identify yung mga sarili nila bilang trans. Ayun, dapat na siyang mabura dahil dapat merong almost autonomy ang bawat isang trans individuals sa kanilang sarili na ma-identify sila kung paano nila gustong ma-identify.
Whistler from UP BAPL. I guess, kasi madalas, ang tinuturing pa din sa mga trans, like, bakla, ganon. But like, sabi nga, di ba, trans women are women. So, kumbaga, parang, hindi dapat sila tinitreat, well, depende pa din naman sa preference na, pero usually hindi dapat sila tinitreat as bakla. Mas more on sa straight sila.
Hindi kami natutuwa or nafa-flatter kapag kinakatcall nyo kami. Oo. And hindi kami nagpapaganda para mapansin kami ng mga lalaki.
Share mo yarn.
Kilala ang UP bilang isang vibrant community kung saan iba-iba ang mga kwento, perspektibo at talento ng ating mga estudyante. Saan ka man tumingin sa ating campus, siguradong may makikita kang creative student doing their most creative thing in life. Meron tayong gumagawa ng art installations, someone who's good at fashion, dancing, writing, at marami pang iba't ibang anyo ng sining. Sa ating universidad, art is more than just an hobby or an academic requirement. It has become a way to express part of ourselves that are often difficult to put into words. And of course, no one knows this more than our guest today. Para sa ating guest, fashion ang kanyang naging form of storytelling. Ginagamit niya ang design upang ipahayag ang kanyang mga experiences at realizations bilang isang transgender man. Ipinanganak sa Leyte, ang mga designs niya ay naisuot na nila Nadine Lustre at Vice Ganda. Bukod sa fashion, nagsusulat din siya para sa Metro Magazine at Nylon Manila. Isa rin siyang content creator na may mahigit 20,000 followers sa social media at mahigit 1 million likes sa TikTok. At kamakailan lamang ay ipinesenta niya ang kanyang debut collection sa Sidlak. Mga kasali, let's welcome Reese Collins Latonio. Collins, thank you for joining us today. No, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited naman to be here. I am very excited to talk about the university and how it impacts people like me.
Pero Collins, before that, sobrang fashionable naman today.
Thank you.
Talk us through, ano ba yung suot mo for today, no?
Okay, so mahilig ako sa colors. I love like pattern matching as well as color matching. So, today, hindi nyo kita yung pants ko, pero yung pants ko are brown and pinstripe. So, may stripes din sa taas na white and brown. So, nagka-complement siya sa pants. And then yung tie ko is yellow and blue. So, nagka-complement siya. So, I think it's like a nice little challenge always. Like, I like my fashion to like make people think and like, oh, I didn't think na yun, mag-work yun sila. So that's what I picked today. Like, different orientations ng stripes. My horizontal, vertical yung pants ko, and then diagonal naman yung sa little tie ko. Ayun.
I'd like to think na you're always thinking outside the box, no, in your
Yeah.
fashion choices.
Yeah.
But I also want to go back, no, like, how did fashion interest you in the first place? So, like, how did you see yourself na, parang gusto ko pala mag-deep dive in the world of fashion?
I think in grade 10, dun ko na-realize na I wanted to take clothing technology. Mostly because when you're in uniforms every day in high school, like, you want to stand out. You want to create your own identity. And so, for me, that was through fashion. It was a medium for me to break outside of the mold that uniforms tend to put you in. So, I dressed up a lot. Like, during school events, you'd see me like naka-beret ako, naka-boots ako, ganun. Like, I had signatures. And then later on, when I realized that I was trans, I was able to self-actualize better through fashion. And so, parang naging very connected na lang yung identity ko with fashion in coming from a small province and then eventually moving to Manila.
And eventually, leading to the one and only, let me show the camera, ito yung bow bag na design ni Collins, no? Alam mo, Collins, I'm really, really obsessed with the design na
Thank
ginawa mo for this
you.
bow bag. Can we, like, let the viewers know, ano yung naging parang process of, like, conceptualizing and actually producing this bow bag over here?
Yeah, so that is actually, ironically, I know it looks feminine, but it's actually a product that I wanted to highlight my personal masculinity with. So, isa sa mga items na nako-correlate ko with my masculinity is leather. So, like, alam ko sobrang inat sa Pilipinas, pero
Yeah.
mahilig talaga ako sa leather jackets. Like, I have a rack of leather jackets. Like, a lot of people who know me know that I love it. And so, I really correlate leather with masculinity. And so, I had spare fabric from a project sa clothing technology, which is my course. And I just thought na parang, you know what? I have so much spare leather. Why not create something out of it? So this was during the height of the coquette era. So super uso nung bows. And I thought, you know what? Why not let's take something masculine that I at least define as masculine and then mix it with something feminine and then have that be my sort of embodiment of how gender is for me. Like, ano yung personal definition ko of gender, move natin into fashion. So, yun yung nangyari. Ginawa ko siya. Weirdly enough, when I looked at it, I was like, this is gonna be something. Like, I feel like some people are gonna like this. So, I decided to post it. And then it went semi-viral, and then it went even bigger viral, mega viral. And so I feel very grateful na even if other people attribute femininity wholly to it now, for me, it always started as this item that interpolates masculinity and femininity together.
Ang ganda nung parang mix pala ng story with the bow bags, no?
Yeah.
And you also said na you posted this and it went viral,
Yeah.
and I saw it, and hindi lang ako nakakita, nakarating din ito sa kina Heart Evangelista, Vice Ganda, and Beanie Malor. Ano yung parang naramdaman mo when you saw your creation being worn by these artists?
First, parang very pinch me moment siya, syempre. Because like, I couldn't believe that it was gaining so much traction. Kasi when I gave it, for Heart, she talked at an event in school. Kasi she was connected to one of our professors. So she just did a really, really quick talk. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make one for her as like a token gift. So I gave it to her, and then she loved it. And she was nice enough to bring it to Paris, I believe. And she like took a photo. So buti pa yung bag ko nasa Paris na, diba? And then for Vice, it happened after Heart. So there was already some level of virality to it. Tapos si Vice kasi, she has changed my life. Like, I have loved her since forever. So when I had the opportunity during Love Laban 2024, I believe, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give this to her. I'm gonna say hi. And then a lot of people loved, I think, that authenticity or like that humility of me going, hi, I'm such a big fan, and then like giving her my bag. So that was really nice. And for Maloy naman, that was a surprise because she messaged me. She reached out. She was like, I want to get one.
Wow.
So hers is custom. Hers is like the base is pink and then the bow is red.
Different colors.
Yeah. She requested for it talaga. So that was really nice. And then hindi niya pinost, but you know, she would wear it during their vlogs. So my friends would be like, oh my god, she wore it. Ganyan,
Collins yan.
Yeah. So that's where I found out that she was like actively using it, and that was really, really sweet as well. So very, very humbling, very, very grateful.
And then I also want to ask, since right now you're running this bag business, and then you're also a student. So how are you able to balance both worlds, diba? Like designing, but at the same time having to run your own brand. Paano mo nagagawa yun together?
I think the honest answer is hindi ko siya nagawa. Because I actually took an LOA because I wanted to focus on the bag brand. And I feel like a lot of people expect like for me to like have it be breezy and, you know, easy. It's really not. Like, it's not a glamorous life. Of course, I'm very grateful for the things that I was able to receive, for the material benefits that I received. Like, if you followed me in the past year or like during my LOA, I was like traveling a lot, but it was actually really difficult. Like, to this day, now that I'm back in academics, I'm like still struggling to to like balance both. And so I'm not at the highest like level that I was as a business owner when I was on LOA. So it's really hard, but a lot of it is time management, which is very hard when you're doing a lot of things. But a lot of it is like just trying to stay calm and staying grateful, because sometimes that gratitude and that humility and that authenticity, like, it feeds into your customers and they become way more understanding. So ayun, I would say time management and just staying grounded.
And really just finding your peace, no?
Yeah,
like, you really
yeah.
have to find your peace before you really start on pursuing things. Kasi
Yeah.
if you're really distracted, mas lalong, it will lead to worse things, diba?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting from you. And then I also want to ask, since of course you said you're from clothing tech. Hello, clothing tech.
Yes.
How did UP help naman find your style when creating your designs? Of course, you had a recent collection, diba, in UP
Yeah,
shown.
yeah.
So how did UP help you in like bumuo ng mga ganitong klaseng designs?
I think for me, what I really like about UP is that it's an amalgamation of so many people with so many stories na hindi ka mauubusan ng mga kwento. Like, our batch, we called our fashion show Tagpi-Tagpi because tagpi-tagpi yung mga
Yeah.
kwento. You know, yung batch namin, it's a lot of shifties, a lot of transferees, some freshies, you know, some people who have finished degrees already and are coming back because they realize that fashion is really one of their great pursuits in life. And so those stories inspire me because it lets me know na there's no one story to tell. There are so many versions of a story, there are so many perspectives, and in a world that's filled with so many people with so many backstories and so many narratives and personal worldviews, there are opportunities to create, to be inspired all the time. That's, I think, something that UP has taught me, especially with so many safe spaces to do so as well, like avenues to explore and to grasp those opportunities. Like, that's very important to be able to internalize para you can fully grow.
All right, I see. And of course, I've noticed how you said UP was like really a creative space for
Yeah.
you. But would you believe that? I mean, would you say na UP or the campus itself is a safe runway for students naman, for like everybody, like the community in general, to experiment with their gender expression? Or ano yung sa tingin mo pwede pa nating i-improve, if ever, as a community here sa UP?
Oh, I think as a graduating student, I would say like the codes are very, very lax, especially in comparison to a lot of other academic institutions. Ako personally, as somebody who came out as trans in 2020 or 2021, UP was my first avenue of, exploring my gender identity through fashion. And so I'm very grateful that UP as an institution is so open to it. Not even just with fashion, but even in something as simple as lived names.
Yeah,
They're so
exactly.
they're so respectful of it. They're so conscious of it. Like, I had a professor who apologized to me because yung nagamit niya is yung sa CRS na list, which is still my biological name, and he accidentally posted it, and I just approached him and I was like, hi, and then he immediately knew what was wrong, and so he apologized and sent me an email. And so that sort of like space that is institutionally respectful is so important kasi iba din yung alam mong you are protected by your school than just your friends. Like, school is so much bigger of an institution. So, ayun.
I see. And now let's go outside naman UP.
Okay.
And I know you're also a writer. Oh, diba? You also write, apart from designing, he also writes, Collins also writes for Metro Style and Nylon, right?
Yeah.
So,
R.I.P. Nylon.
Kamusta
Yeah.
naman ang pagiging writer mo sa mga companies na yun?
It was really fun. I was introduced to Metro through a fellow clothing technology student, and it's so interesting to be part of the industry. Like, before I was a designer, I was a writer first. So to be able to like write and tell stories, so I did a series last last year that was about like my pride in fashion. It was about 3 or 4 different interviewees and how they are able to, exemplify their pride through fashion. And that was so nice for me to be able to understand how stories can be retold and repackaged through writing and not just through fashion. And I feel like that was able to springboard me into understanding the important elements of a story that need to be told or that need to be designed in accordance with, parang ganon. It was so exciting. And then for Nylon naman, that was such a cute time. I know that they have since closed their doors, but I'm very grateful to them because they treated me with so much kindness. Metro as well, with so much kindness, and they got me as well for like as talent and stuff like that. So that was a very nice time to be associated with Nylon.
And then apart from that, you were also recognized as one of the most influential designers in the country by Preview Click last 2025. How was the experience? Ano yung, when you heard about it and when you were officially part of Preview Click, ano yung nag-click sa'yo? Like, how did it feel?
I like that, did not expect it at all. So when the call went out, I remember I was at the market. I was with a friend and I was like, oh, should I apply? And she was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I applied and then I heard back in March that I was shortlisted. And so I had to create a video. And oh no, not March, in May pala. And I was in Singapore for the Lady Gaga
show.
concert.
Okay.
And they asked me to like, oh, can you film like a video? So all of the shortlisted contestants, we were all like asked to film a video of like how we can style a particular item of clothing. And I was in Singapore and we had a canceled flight, and that's exactly when that's exactly when I had time to film. It was my only available time to film. And so I was like, I was like proud of the video. I think the video was really nice, but in the back of my mind, it wasn't really like I'm surely gonna get this, because I'm positive that the Philippines is filled with so many talented creatives, but I feel like it's such an honor to be able to call myself a member of the Preview Click, because we have so many like raw talents that I think are better forwarded with such a nice platform. To be able to call myself a member of the Preview Click is such a prestige, and I feel very grateful na they saw something in me na I'm signed on with them, and I feel very, very thankful for that. Yeah.
Alam mo, Collins, you're a fashion designer, you're also a writer, you do everything. But I also know that you're also part of UP sa Mascom naman, right?
Yes.
So apart from all of those things, you are also a performer, diba?
Yes.
You also perform, you love to sing and to dance. So walk us through naman with your Samascom journey. How did joining that organization help you actualize your identity and like really expressing and showing who you are to a lot of people? Kasi I'm pretty sure UP Samascom has a lot of shows, there's a lot of stages where they really present themselves. So how was the journey in UP Samascom naman?
So I applied to Samascom in my first year in UP. It was online pa. And I remember when I wanted to join an org in UP, I wanted to join a performing organization. And the PubMat for Samascom was so big and so bright. And I was like, okay, this is exactly the kind of org that I want to be in. It's bright and bold and bodacious, and there's no way that I couldn't apply for it. So I applied for it. And although it was online, the space that it created was so safe and filled with so much laughter that there's no way for you to not feel safe. Like, the members are so kind and so, like, yung love language nila is to make jokes. And that sort of levity, that sort of ease of knowing that you can always laugh with these people is something that I cherish with the org. In Samascom, I'm probably one of the first like trans men, trans masculine people, because like for the older generation, they still identify as women, like tomboy sila, and yun yung identity nila. As mentioned earlier, na some people, they don't identify with just bakla or tomboy. They are trans women or they are trans men. And so when I got into Samascom, I actually had a lot of questions because for a lot of people, I was the first trans man or trans mask person that they met.
Yeah.
And I personally don't take offense when people ask questions, because that shows me that people are interested to learn.
You're accepting.
They are accepting. They are curious and they want to make sure that they respect you. And so that sort of space was very important to me as a young baby trans in 2021, because it showed me that there are people out there that they, even if they just know you as this trans person now, they're still interested in learning the deeper parts of you, of who you actually are, your like what is important to you in terms of like how they address you. And I felt like that sort of safe space has helped me become one with not just my trans masculinity but also my femininity, because of how we celebrate a multitude of identities, and that it makes me proud to be a member of Samascom.
But then, apart from like really feeling the community in Samascom, of course, yung ano naman, performance side naman.
Yeah.
As a dancer and a performer singer, ano naman yung parang nafe-feel mo when you get to have that spotlight on stage, and like when you're seen by a lot of people, how's it feeling naman?
For me, I used to have a lot of anxiety of being like, oh, I'm gonna be portrayed as a woman. People are gonna see me as a woman. But now I feel like I've entered that point in my life where I really don't care. Like, especially for people that are in passing or are transient. Like, they don't really, quote-unquote, matter, right? Like, these are people who will just see me once and never see me again. What's more important to me is the people who are who I'm actually building the performance with. So yung org mismo. And like sa kanila ko talaga na learn yung how sometimes gender is a performance. Like parte din siya of performing. And so you just leave it all at the door. And I'm so glad to be able to dance and to sing and to perform so loudly that sometimes people don't think about the gender anymore. It's just a good performance is a good performance. And so I love performing. And so to be able to find enough self-confidence that I no longer worry about how I'm perceived, but instead how the performance is perceived, I feel very grateful for Samascom to teach me that.
I'm really I really like your stories, like from being a designer, from everything, like you've done everything.
Multi-hyphenate.
Yeah, so multi-hyphenate. Ang saya, like makita na you're doing it all. At the same time,
Thank you.
I'm learning a lot from you. Like, it's not really sometimes it's a taboo topic for some to talk about gender and like especially for transgender communities. But I'm really glad that you're here to like really expound more of what transgender people are and who we are.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And of course, kaya naman sa ating mga kasali, kagaya ng inaabangan nating pagyabong ng mga bulaklak tuwing graduation, marami pa tayong aabangan sa patuloy na pamumukadkad ng ating kwentuhan kasama si Reese Collins. Kaya naman mga kasali, ito pa rin ang UP Atin to, kwentuhang may utak, kwentuhang may puso. DZUP 1602, kasali ka!
Halika na makinig sa DZUP 1602. Tayo na makinig sa DZUP 1602. Ikaw ako tayo sa DZUP 1602. Kasali ka.
Ang dami-dami kong kailangang gawin. Maraming examen sa school. Marami rin trabaho para sa mga organizations ko. Halos 3 araw na rin akong walang tulog. Hindi ko alam kung may oras pa akong kumain o uminom man lang ng tubig. Pagod na ako. Di ko na alam kung paano pa ako tutuloy.
Ang sariling kalusugan ay ang puhunan para sa kinabukasan. Huwag kalimutang kumain, uminom ng tubig, at matulog ng sapat sa isang araw. Isang paalala mula sa DZUP 1602, kasali ka. Salot!
Masama ka.
Walang tamang magagawa yan.
Sayang naman.
Kahihiyan ka sa pamilya natin.
Walang tamang magagawa yan. Salot. Wala naman tamang ginagawa.
Masama ka.
Huwag magpapaapekto sa mga sinasabi nila. Ano man ang iyong kasarian, basta't wala kang ibang taong inaapakan, kasali ka. Isang paalala mula sa DZUP 1602.
Pasok ka rito.
Tara sa kwentuhang may utak.
Kwentuhang may puso.
UP Atin to.
Alam niyo ba na dito sa UP din naman isinilang ang kauna-unahang LGBTQIA+ student organization sa Pilipinas? Noong 1992, itinatag ang UP Babaylan na naging daan para sa mga organisadong pagsusulong ng LGBTQIA+ rights, visibility, at representation sa mga pamantasan at iba pang espasyo sa ating bansa. Hindi tayo nagtatapos lamang sa pagbuo ng mga organisasyon at advokasya. Unti-unti rin itong naisasalin sa mga polisiya at konkretong hakbang sa loob ng ating universidad. Let's fast forward to 2021 nang ilabas ng UP Diliman ng guidelines on affirming transgender and gender non-conforming students. Sa ilalim ng mga guidelines na ito, hinihikayat na ang paggamit ng live names at tamang pronouns ng mga estudyante sa loob ng classroom. Sa halip ng mga legal names o dating pangalan na hindi na sumasalamin sa kanilang totoong identidad. Patuloy rin ang mga panawagan sa pagpapakita ng mga live names sa iba pang mga sistema ng universidad, kabilang na sa CRS at sa mga class list. Kaya kapag kinakanta natin ang UP naming mahal, kasama rito ang pagmamahal at pagtanggap sa bawat kulay ng ating komunidad. Pinatutunayan natin na ang oble ay hindi lang basta ribulto, kundi isang simbolo ng pag-aalay ng sarili ng walang tinatagong maskara. At yan ang ating rekwento para sa araw na ito.
Nagbabalik ang kwentuhang may utak, kwentuhang may puso. UP Atin to. Patuloy na yumayabong ang ating komunidad sa pamamagitan ng ating mga karanasan, identidad at higit sa lahat ng sining. Kaya naman, ipagpatuloy natin ang talakayan kasama ang ating panauhin, ang fashion designer, content creator at transgender advocate na si Reese Collins Latonio.
Hello, hello.
Collins, kanina we talked more on your professional side Parang your student life, your life outside UP, and really as a performer as well, lahat-lahat. But now, I wanna go deeper naman into who you are, especially with your thoughts, with your realizations in life. Let's dive deeper to more personal questions naman. So,
Sure.
I wanna ask Collins, at what point in your life did you begin to understand and embrace your gender identity?
I would say, like a lot of people actually, it happened mostly during the pandemic. Like, when you are stuck in your room with nothing to do, you
can't go outside.
Yeah, you can't go outside. The only thing you have to really think about is yourself. And I had previously thought of myself as non-binary because I knew that femininity or being a woman was just not aligned with who I was. I felt very uncomfortable with that idea. And so I had started to entertain the thought that maybe I was more than just like at the center of being non-binary, because I had consumed so much media during the pandemic, as one does. And I had found myself really resonating with a lot of male characters. So, like, for example, Emmett Forrest from Legally Blonde, the musical. Love him. I was like, I need to be him right now. And then I started to realize that's not really a cis person's way of thinking. And so I explored it a bit more, and I found a lot of queer online spaces that were so open to people who were realizing their gender identity at the time. And that's how I figured out na I align more with being trans man or a trans mask, basta trans space masculinity, anything lang. And then it all started from there. Like, I cut my hair agad, and then I started testing names. So Reese and Collins are not the first choices. And then I just started like dressing more like aligned, and now this is what I look like. This is who I am. It's a constant journey, but that's definitely where it started.
Alam mo, I resonate as well as like finding yourself during the pandemic, because I was the same person during the pandemic. I felt the same things. It was during the pandemic where I came out naman as a gay guy through my family. Like, parang being stuck in one home, like you can't go out, really have a lot of time to self-reflect. And like with same thing, like I've watched a lot of shows, a lot of media during that time. So sabi ko, I feel like I'm discovering more about myself, and really it transformed me. Like as soon as I came out, parang I felt more free.
Yeah.
I felt more me.
I agree.
Right? Like parang you're not caged anymore, and once you really embrace it with yourself, you really feel na, okay, I'm a better person today. I can stand more proudly today, right?
It feels so freeing na there's no more weight on your shoulders of like having to hide and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I also want to ask, since you are from Leyte, right?
Yes.
So, from Leyte going to UP Diliman to study here, paano naka-apekto yung parang ganong shift naman ng environment? Hindi lang on your creative creative space, but more so sa transition journey mo. Like, how was going from Leyte to Manila changed you?
It changed a lot, actually. So, not to go back to academics, but this is one of the points that I found during my thesis. So my thesis is about transgender wardrobe choices. And I had a few participants who were also from the province, and I agree with their sentiments when they say na parang, the probinsya version of me is not the real me. And I think a lot of it has to do with how conservative and how traditional the probinsya is. Like, education is so important when it comes to like gender and SOGI and other like very important topics in relation to the LGBTQIA plus community, and that's just not necessarily present yet in the province. We're so conservative and so religious, and for a time I had actually thought that my transness would only be validated if I medically transitioned. And so I had started taking a lot of therapy to see if that was something that I really wanted, or if it was just like me succumbing to yung mga misconceptions about trans people. When I moved, I had realized I didn't want to actually transition for myself. Like, I didn't want to medically transition for myself, because I like the way that I am now, even with a high voice and sometimes being called ma'am. I don't really mind it, because I personally know that I am a guy, you know? And so that shift was really eye-opening to me, because it made me realize that there is so much more space that is available for people to take up. And comparing it to Tacloban, where I'm from, comparing it to that, it's so drastic to know that parang, although there were small pockets, you know, I have friends who are part of the community, public perception and public like understanding is so much different here in Manila. And I'm just grateful that I moved when I did, because otherwise I might have been unhappy with decisions that I made because of geographic pressure. So yeah,
I really like what you said. There's really a lot of ways to express yourself. Not you don't have to like change your voice, change the way you dress. I mean, if personally you know, like, I am a man, diba? That's what matters right now, right? So really like what you said about that. And alam ko marami pa tayong gustong malaman tungkol kay Collins, ngunit hindi lang tayo ang may questions para sa kanya. Sa susunod na segment, may itatanong ang mga miyembro ng trans community sa ating guest. Ito ang Kwentanungan! So, ang ating first question naman ay nagmula kay Mika Santos. So, ang katanungan niya ay, bilang isang transgender at scholar ng bayan, paano mo hinaharap ang mga expectations or stereotypes na talaga namang prominent up to this day?
The one that she mentioned earlier about having to medically transition, it's actually really huge. And it's so impactful to me as somebody who has no plans anytime soon of medically transitioning. And so I feel like I always have to clarify, like, no, I don't plan to go on T. I don't plan to. But I feel like I like to view it as people are always just curious and don't naturally mean harm. So I just clarify. In breaking stereotypes, I mean, being proud of who I am, even if I do break stereotypes, I feel like that's a way to combat those misconceptions already. And so that's just what I do. I don't feel anger, because I don't want to go into the world assuming that people are trying to tear me down. I feel like that's such a sad way to go about life. And so the way that I view it is, when people ask or when people assume things of me, it's because they're uneducated. And I always view it as, you can educate people more. And sometimes, of course, there are times where it's like, well, it's not my duty to do that, but when I do have the energy, I'm open to discuss it. I'm open to talk about it, and I think that's one way where I'm able to discuss these things a little better, so that stereotypes can be a little better deconstructed.
Like there's always an opportunity for people to learn,
Yeah.
right? So we always, if they want to learn more, sometimes they're just curious, like they don't know, but they also want to like ask you just so they could give you the proper respect,
Yeah,
diba?
of course.
I feel like that's something that I feel like a lot of people naman, right, today in our society are very open and are very accepting about it. And let's move naman sa ating next question. Ito naman ay nagmula kay Chrysler Pedeglorio. Ang tanong naman niya ay, paano nakaka-impluwensya ang UP at ang mga creative spaces, let's say like your clothing tech, di ba, sa paghubog ng identity mo bilang isang trans individual?
I think for me, it's an avenue kasi for you to realize more parts of yourself as well. So, I think when we discuss gender identity, it's also important to recognize na it's not, when you talk about gender, it's so intersectional with so many other things.
Yeah.
When you talk about yourself and talk about, you know, yung paghubog ng identity mo, it's not just about being transgender. It's about who you are. Like, it's the wholeness of it. You know, we contain multitudes. And so when I engage in creative spaces, I want to do a lot of like introspection so that when I create work, it is directly connected to who I am. And who I am happens to be a trans person. And so parang everything is influenced by my transness because it is created by my hand. Like, it may not be it may not be conscious, it may be something instinctive, but my transness is injected into everything that I do. And so as long as I continue to create, as long as I continue to learn about myself and continue to gain experiences to understand who I am, then everything that I create is helpful for my transness, for my transgender identity. That's what I would say.
I also want to go back kasi diba, when I asked you about the bow bags, diba, like parang you talked about it, some people might say na bows are feminine, but then you use a leather. And then it's like, it's those little things that parang it's a mix, but then again, it's you. Diba? It's your story and in your crafts in the hands of many people who own the bag. So parang ang galing lang na you really found your ground. You really found how you express yourself, not just with the way you dress, with how you present, but at the same time with how you put your craft into it.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
Ang galing. You're so
Ayun,
amazing.
parang thank you so much. Parang it's always gonna be informed by that. And instead of trying to shy away from it, I embrace it.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the things I always say, it's like when I create, it's always in the name of trans joy and excellence. That it's always going to be informed by that, whether I realize it or not. So whenever you support my craft, you're always supporting my identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. And of course, let's now move on sa ating next question. This question naman ay mula kay Miss Vitex Pagwirigan. Sa buhay estudyante mo sa UP, ano naman ang pinakamalaki mong natutunan sa sarili mo bilang transgender?
Oh, this is
Nice.
very interesting.
Yeah.
I would say that there's a constant renegotiation of your gender expression based on the spaces that you are in. So, syempre in UP, it's evident, or it's normal for you to exist in so many spaces.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
ako, ang dami kong orgs. Ang dami kong orgs, you have different classes, you have
Different
your...
friend groups.
Different friend groups. And so, the way that you present yourself or the way that you express yourself will actually differ in those groups. But none of them take away from your transness. For example, in Samascom, I'm extremely feminine, right? I'm extremely feminine. But that doesn't take away from my transness. Whereas with my CT friends, I'm more masculine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I'm more associated with like gay guy terms, like ayun, tuwing ako doon instead of like sa mascom mama, 'di ba? Parang ganon. And those those two things, those two spaces can coexist, and they don't take away from my transness
Yeah.
at all.
Mhm.
They in fact add to it, because I am in more circles being trans, and I think that's something that I learned in UP. Kasi ayun nga, na-realize ko na parang there's this sort of like all I remember, like I said it to myself na parang all queerness, no, all femininity is queer when it comes to Samascom, but my CT friends recognize that not all queerness is feminine, and those two things can, like, you can negotiate that and challenge those things. And so yun yung parang pinaka natutunan ko, navigating social spaces and recognizing that I still am who I am.
Yeah, I see.
Yun.
I also want to ask naman, since your space belongs to clothing tech, how's the
Yes.
scene naman in clothing tech? Like, kasi for us here sa Mascom, we're very loud, we're a close-knit community, but then
Yeah.
again, maiingay kami.
Yes.
So, you as part of clothing tech, kamusta naman yung world there? And especially how each, kasi mga designers kayo,
Yeah,
diba?
yeah,
So like,
yeah.
how do you guys collaborate? How do you guys put everything into one piece of fashion? And like, especially, iba't iba kayo ng
Yeah.
you guys are
We have
different.
different design languages. I think the biggest thing about clothing tech is we're all so supportive
Yeah,
of each other.
nice.
Because we're tiny. We're 20 people a batch.
Oh,
Like, ganun kami kaliit. And sometimes, nawawalan pa kami. Like, I think right now, yung batch namin, 15 lang kami. Parang ganon. And so, we're often the course that gets told, oh my God, hindi namin alam may ganyan dito sa UP. Well, yes, we've existed for a long time, but we are so supportive of each other because we all recognize, parang, you're in CT because you want to be in CT. Like, it's very rare na you just happen upon CT. And so you recognize the importance of fashion. You understand that fashion has the capability to move people, to tell stories. And so even with different design languages, a lot of us have like the capacity to still tell the same story just with multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
And each of those perspectives can be true. So collaboration is a lot of just support. Like if somebody wants help, like, hey, can you help me sew this, sew that? It's really like a space where everybody's allowed to thrive individually, but the community is very supportive of one another's endeavors. Ayun.
See, I feel like you've found a good space naman.
Yeah,
to
for
really,
sure.
To really work with people and really find your own footing, but at the same time, really help other people
Yeah.
in designing. I also want to ask, since I know na you're graduating, right? You are
Yes.
graduating. Congratulations.
Hopefully, thank you.
Hopefully, congratulations. Ano naman yung next for you as soon as you step out of UP? What would be next of Collins naman?
Oh my gosh,
Hmm.
such a loaded question. I've thought about it a lot, and I think, well, for sure, I'm still gonna be be designing things.
Yeah.
I would like to definitely start honing in on my brand and be more than just the boba guy. Again, very grateful for that, but I want everybody to know that I am so much more than that. I have so many more stories to tell. I have so many more designs to create, and I sort of want to focus on that because that's the future that I want for myself. I would love to be a mainstay in the fashion industry and inspire fellow trans people na you can be trans and be great. Like, ayun nga, name of trans joy and excellence. I'd love to get to work with a lot of industry mainstays now because they offer such unique insight on the industry, and I feel like the industry just by way of being the fashion industry is cutthroat. And so I'll take any advice that I can get. So I interned for Randolph earlier. Earlier this year. I'm currently interning with John Lozano. And so I want to be in this industry and take up space, and hopefully I get to do that in the years to come.
That's so nice. I can't wait.
Thank
also have
you.
another question.
Go.
Since you really, first of all, when I saw you that post kasi when you were working with Randolph. Sabi ko, so cool. Like your pieces with Randolph. Wow, so nice.
Yeah, that was so nice to be in the same magazine. Like to be in the same magazine with your boss is kind of crazy.
Exactly.
Like this was for L'Officiel. I believe it was like their March issue or something like that. Like my pieces were featured sa L'Officiel for an editorial, and then Randall's pieces were also featured in a separate editorial. And it's like, that's crazy. Like I'm in the same magazine as my boss. Like my works are in the same magazine as my boss, and I learned so much from that as well. Like how to deal with clients and how to like market yourself. So it was a very nice internship, I would say, and I would do it again.
I have a question. If of course, as soon as you step out, you're going to be in the scene, you're going to be in the industry. How do you want to change the industry? Like once you're really in there, diba? Collins, diba? How do you plan to like change the scene of fashion right now, or like what do you think now will happen if you really make it out there?
I'd like for the industry to be more appreciative of Filipino talent. I think.
Yeah.
I want the average Filipino to recognize that Filipino fashion is so great.
Yeah.
It is filled with so many amazing creatives, so many talented creatives that deserve to be seen. And I want the average Filipino to recognize people in the industry, purchase from them. You know, like I feel like we are just so bombarded with, you know, foreign brands and international brands, and I want Filipino fashion to thrive. I want the people to recognize that we have a working fashion industry. It is a well-oiled machine, and so I'd love to be able to make Filipino fashion a mainstay in every Filipino's closet. That would be a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also want to go back naman kasi when you said sa preview na it was your advocacy before to highlight gender stereotypes from clothing. So, what pushed you to advocate for that naman?
For me naman, it's sort of the way that I was able to find myself was to be able to, you know, rebrand my own definition of masculinity. So that's also something that I want to do with my brand, aside from being a Filipino fashion mainstay. I want people to find their own individuality through my clothing by transgressing boundaries and recognizing na anybody can wear anything that they want if it makes them happy.
Yeah.
And so for me, I wanna break those stereotypes, but not in a way that it's just breaking for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But breaking with authenticity of recognizing that the way you are breaking those stereotypes is because you are proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Parang ganon. Yun yung gusto ko. Because for me, as somebody who doesn't fit the traditional mold of what masculinity looks like, it's so important for me for other people to also recognize that masculinity and femininity don't look one way. That there are so many ways to be able to express them. And so because my main medium is fashion, I want to be able to tell that sort of narrative as well through my clothing or through my brand.
Or through the craft that you will make, diba?
Exactly.
So there's really no one fixed track with how you want to express yourself. There are really multitude of ways of how you can show off who you really are.
Of course.
I have a question naman, really personal naman to.
Go.
If let's say one of our listeners right here is like really wants to go through a journey for themselves and they don't know what to do, or like they don't know, they're afraid, they're scared, they're vulnerable, they don't know that they're scared. Maybe they're scared of like becoming true to who they to become who they want to be. So what advice would you offer them na parang just to really not be afraid and become who they want to be?
I think for me, a safe space and a support system is so important. And so if you're scared of doing it alone, you won't be scared doing it with a community. And that's something that I think is so important to the LGBTQIA+ community, that we are together. You know, we are united in helping everybody come out and live their best truths. And so for me, I think the best advice is to find people that will be able to support you. find people, find friends that will uplift you, because at the end of the day, you are not alone. You have so many people behind you, and of course, I understand the importance of having to stay safe. And my best advice is to find people to help. Ayun,
Alright.
like friends online.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be in person. Just find spaces where you can be your best authentic self. Ayun.
Where you can feel safe, diba?
Yeah.
Where people can be there for you, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's really important. And Collins, before we let you go,
Okay.
I know that you have. Do you have plans to go maybe international, maybe after? Because you've mentioned in another interview that international fashion weeks are your goals, diba?
Yes.
Especially with Heart bringing your bag to
Yeah,
Paris,
yeah.
diba? So, what are your goals naman? Let's say New York, London, Paris, Milan. Ano ba yung tingin mo? What's the ultimate dream here?
Well, the ultimate dream is definitely honestly any of the fashion weeks.
Yeah.
Like New York would be really, really cool.
Nice.
But Paris, London, Milan would be amazing. I'd love to even just go, even if I'm not like, staging yet. Eventually, someday, but I'd love to go. I think my goal in terms of education, I'd love to go to Central St. Martin's in London.
Oh.
Yeah, for an MA in fashion. That would be amazing. Yung idol ko when it comes to international is, like Filipino international excellence, is Jude Macasinag. Amazing. He's in Paris, and that would be the ultimate goal. I'd love to stage at New York Fashion Week. VJ Floresca.
Yeah.
Wow. That would be amazing. To go international and to inspire so many Filipino trans kids that they can make it big too. Yeah.
You mentioned Central St. Martin. So,
Yeah.
what is it? Like, ano ba yung gusto mong mangyari dun?
Oh, Central St. Martin's is, I think, the leading fashion school in London.
Wow.
Yeah, it's in the University of University of the Arts London.
Yeah.
I'd love to take an MA there for fashion. Even fashion journalism is cool there as well. Like, they have a course that's like specifically talks about like the socio-cultural and political
Yeah.
aspects of fashion. So that would be really cool. I'd love to get to go there because I think it's so important to widen your horizons.
Yeah, of course.
Even if it's not like for work, just as people,
Yeah.
as travelers.
As travelers.
Yeah. So I think that those opportunities would be very insightful to me as a person
Yeah.
and as to my craft as well. So ayun. Sana someday.
I'm really, really hoping that
Yeah.
that this trans man from Leyte in Manila and now
Yes.
international,
Yeah,
diba?
that would be amazing.
Ang ganda
That would
nun.
be so cool.
Pero before we let you go, I really wanna plug this one more time, guys. If you have the means, you can check out Bow Bags by
Yeah.
Reese Collins. They're super amazing.
Yes.
Sobrang ganda.
At by Reese Collins Latonio on Instagram if you wanna pick one up for yourself.
Yeah, all right. We can just send you a
Yeah.
message, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much,
Of
Collins,
course,
for
of course,
being here with
Jay.
us. I feel like I'm pretty sure that our listeners ay marami silang nakuhang lessons, realizations from what you've shared with us this afternoon. Thank you so much, Collins.
Of course, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. And kaya naman sa ating mga kasali, para sa mas marami pang makabuluhang diskusyon sa loob at sa labas ng oblation, bisitahin ang aming website, ang dzup.org, at ilike ang DZUP Facebook page, at huwag kalimutan mag-subscribe sa DZUP YouTube channel. Sa ngalan ng ating mga kasamahan sa programang ito, mula sa production team, Director Sara Soriano, Technical Director Justine Dabao, Streaming Director SG Baidal, and Internship Supervisor Miss Almira Mendoza, maraming salamat po. Ako po si Jay Pineda sa DZUP 1602. Kasali ka!
Kwentuhang may utak.
Kwentuhang may puso.
UP Atin to. Lunes hanggang Biyernes sa DZUP 1602. Kasali ka.